I've been recruiting for about 5.5 years or so. So I can say that I've got me some experience up my sleeve, right? Just a little bit. But before I am a recruiter, I am a candidate, I am a job seeker, right? I began recruiting because I had a passion to help young adults like myself enter and navigate through the corporate world. And as a young adult, it can be extremely confusing, it can be extremely scary. Before recruiting, though, even when I worked in heavy customer service roles, I just saw so many flaws in the recruiting and the onboarding process. And I'm talking from job descriptions to proper training. And from that, I knew that I wanted to make a change and be the change within hiring and retention processes. I think that we spend a lot of time at work, and it should be taken very seriously to attract and retain good talent and good people. And I can go on and on about that, but I'm not going to today. But because I've been in each seat, right? Recruiter, candidate, job seeker, I figured today I would give you all an inside scoop into a recruiter's mind. Okay. I'm just going to provide you all with a few unique tips that I really think could help you in your job seeking journey. And y'all might hear some of these tips and be like, Tia, in what ways are these tips unique? Y'all might be like, I already knew that, or, what even is this? But I really do think that the tips that I'm going to share today can help someone. So I'm going to give it a try. And also, it's on my agenda. It's on my list of things to discuss on this podcast. So we got to keep it moving. We got to keep it moving. So let me hop right into these tips. Number one, the easiest way to spruce up your resume is to use your jobs description. I honestly think that this is the best way to work smarter, not harder. And actually, statistics show that recruiters review resumes in only about 6 to 7 seconds, right? So with that, you want to make sure that you are standing out as much as possible through utilizing strong keywords. And oftentimes, those keywords are in the job description of your current or your previous roles, specifically in the minimum qualifications or even the additional qualifications. As a recruiter, I love a good control F. I love a good control F. Control F is when you can find certain keywords or key phrases on a web page or a document. So if I'm recruiting for an accounting position and one of the requirements is that they have to have a CPA license, a certified public accountant, what I will do is search for that keyword or that key phrase while I am screening resumes. Okay. So when you are applying for a job, keywords related to the job description, skills, experience, education, certifications, be sure to include that. Only include it, though, if you actually have what they're requiring, okay? Do not lie. But if you want to be as close of a match to the role as possible, be sure to include those things. And also, you know what you do for work, right? But I think that this can save a lot of time, and it may not cross many people's minds to save their job description, which is completely fine. I always save my job description. I always save my job description, even though the company or the organization or whoever you're working for should have a copy of it. But I always save it because don't try to give me tasks that aren't in my job description, right? I always save what I have applied for and what I've been hired to do. And I'm really strict and I'm really serious about that. And like I said, I just think it's easier to transfer those bullet points or keywords or key phrases to your resume. And I also want to make sure I'm clear too here because I don't want it to sound like what I'm saying is to use the entire job description on your resume. That is a no-go. Do not do that. Just pick a few bullet points that relate to your day-to-day tasks and your day-to-day duties. And also make sure that you're including your accomplishments as well, right? So, for example, let's say you work in marketing. And let's say one of your things to do each day is to create email campaigns, right? So instead of saying created email campaigns, you can say created and distributed email campaigns leading to a 20% increase in engagement. And you can even go as far as adding a numerical value and saying like over a 6-week period, something along those lines, right? So yes, include your daily tasks and your daily duties, but also include the outcome of your efforts. It should be a mix of both. All right, number 2. If a job says expired, closed, or no longer available on a job listing platform, and I'm talking Indeed, Career Builder, LinkedIn, there's some other job boards. There are some that are smaller as well. If you see that the job is saying expired, closed, or no longer available, and you are still interested in applying, go to the company's direct website, search for their careers tab, see if the position is still available, and apply. So, to break this down, recruiters use a software system known as an applicant tracking system, or an ATS for short, right? This system helps manage the entire recruitment process from job posting to onboarding. There are a number of applicant tracking systems, honestly. And I think that some of us pay attention to the websites that we're using when we apply, right? Some maybe not. That's fine. Especially if it's one of those websites when it requires you to make an account to apply or you have to upload a resume and still enter your work experience. We all know that we hate that. It's like actually just take the resume and like go from there. You know what I mean? It can be too much sometimes. But a few examples would be Workday, that's a big one. Taleo, iSims, Greenhouse. I'm trying to think of some that are pretty known. But either way, I'm giving this tip because what I'm trying to say is some of these job listing sites will automatically scrape jobs from a company's applicant tracking system to post them, meaning they will take the entire job description, posting date, expiration or closing date, application link, and add it to their platform. However, this is also dependent on the company's contract or package or partnership with these job listing sites. I have worked for some employers that didn't have the best contract or package or partnership with these job board platforms. So what we had to do was we actually had to go in and manually post the job ourselves. And oftentimes there's a cost associated with that, right? There's a cost associated with reaching a broader audience and just having that overall additional exposure of a job, just like any ad, really. So if you're pushing out an ad for your clothing brand, right, it's going to be a cost associated with that. There are also things to consider, such as the duration of having the job posted, right? Like how long do you want it to be up and out there for people to see? Or how high do you want it ranked in the searches against your competitors? We can choose those things. And if there's not enough money in the budget to consider those things, it may be posted for a very short time on these job boards, but still posted within the company's applicant tracking system. I hope that makes sense. Oh my gosh, does that make sense? I really hope, like, and me giving that thorough recruiting breakdown, probably it was no need for, but I also wanted to provide extra support for this tip. So I just hope that it makes sense, and I hope that you all are picking up what I'm putting down. But in short, let's say it like this, okay? If a company is besties with external job boards, they have all of their jobs automatically scraped from their system, right? But you also might want to check the company's website just in case that's not the case, right? Just in case a company isn't besties with those platforms. And as a candidate, you would know, but I think that if it's a job out there that you really, really want and you really, really just can see yourself having that job and you just want to reach after it and just, you know that it's yours, take it a step further, okay? Even though it's not on those job board sites, still go to the company's website to see if it's still posted. Number 3, apply to jobs no matter the location. Listen, I am someone who is always pushing for people to shoot for the stars. Like, I'm really big on pushing people to shoot for the stars, and I'm really big on people exhausting all options, especially when it comes to job seeking. Yes, of course, know your worth and never settle. But I'm really big on people believing in themselves and taking the leap of faith, even though it's something I may not always do for myself, but I do want good for others, okay? So I feel like apply for jobs no matter the location, right? You never know how far a company is willing to go in order to secure that top talent. You might just have everything that they're looking for, and they're willing to do whatever it is to get you in the door. I think, too, that a lot of companies offer moving and relocation. It's oftentimes not advertised, and I don't know why. But I think that especially when it comes to hard to fill roles and you have that skill, like I said, or you have that experience that they so desperately need, they are going to do whatever it takes to make sure they get you in the door. Okay? I've seen it. Okay? I've seen companies say, actually, you know what? Even though this position is located in Vermont, if you live in Kentucky, we'll make it work, right? Like, we can aid with relocating, or you can stay in Kentucky and we'll ship you the equipment. And of course, this is only if you do a remote job that can be done remote, right? Like, it really depends on the role. But if it is a role where you actually have to actively be on site, they may make the arrangements to bring you to the location to perform the job. But I want you all to keep your options open, right? Like, don't deny yourself before they do. Put yourself out there. Let the recruiters and the hiring managers say, actually, we can't make this work. and let them deny you. Don't deny yourself first. Let the hiring team do their job. Okay, number 4. I actually woke up at 7 a.m. to record this episode. It is now 7:43. And I can actually say that I'm waking up the more that I talk. So this is really good. This is really good. But number 4, know what to ask recruiters versus hiring managers. To be clear, it is absolutely the recruiter's responsibility to connect with hiring managers to understand their hiring needs, team structure, all the things. However, recruiters are not experts on that role or that field that they are recruiting for. Recruiters are there to attract, screen, and funnel top talent to the hiring managers. So they may not have all the answers, whereas the hiring manager will have the direct knowledge of those daily tasks and responsibilities and team structure and expectations, challenges, and, and knowing what to ask the recruiter versus the hiring manager, it can really save you time and potential disappointment. So a few questions you may ask a recruiter may be, what are the next steps regarding the interview process? What's the salary range? What are the benefits for the role? Can you tell me about the company's culture? Why is this role open? Is it a new position? Is it a backfill? You might ask questions like that. Whereas when you're speaking with the hiring manager, you may ask questions like, what does success look like in this role? What is your management style? What are your expectations of your team? Can you tell me about the day-to-day responsibilities? Knowing what to ask can help you gain the insights at each stage of the process and help you in making informed decisions along the way as well. Number 5, when interviewing with a panel, don't be scared. And I know y'all are probably like, Tia, be for real. Be for real. How can we just not be scared? You're crazy right now. And I get it. Okay. Easier said than done. I despise panel interviews. They can feel so intimidating, and I will always prefer a simple one-on-one interview over a panel interview. But I do understand why panel interviews take place. 1, it has a more consensus-based approach, so it helps reduce bias. 2, it also allows for various departments to showcase their thoughts or questions. And I think that this also can provide a lot of insight into different thinking and communication styles. And it also shows how each individual on that panel plays a part in the organization. So I think that's really good to know. And then 3, it saves time, right? Especially when places do 2, 3, 4 interviews. At that point, you don't even want the job anymore. So I think that for panel interviews, it can be a lot easier when it's just pulling everyone together for one interview. But I get it. The anticipation and the process of interviewing is nerve-wracking, period. And being flustered throughout this process is completely normal. But I want to encourage you all that for any panel interviews, do your best to focus your energy and your attention to the person or persons you would be reporting to and or working closely with, if known. If it's shared with you, do your best to focus your energy and attention to those people. So I'm going to provide both of my experiences from a candidate and a recruiter's lens when it comes to panel interviews. So as a candidate, I've sat in interviews with various interviewers that I never saw after that, or I was in a position or a role where me and some of the interviewers, our work just simply never crossed, right? We never had to come together for meetings or any big decision making. And there are many different avenues to HR. It is. And being in recruitment, depending on the complexity and the depth of the role, I may never have to crossroads with other avenues of HR. I may never have to crossroads with employee relations or compensation. But it really does depend, because I've been in recruiting roles where I never had to speak with compensation. But then there were times where I had to be a part of conversations with compensation. And maybe that might have been to discuss new market ranges for certain roles and ensuring that we remain competitive in pay. So instead of paying 25 to 27 an hour for a certain position, we may be discussing increasing the pay from 27 to 30 an hour, right? It definitely ranges, but I've been in positions where there was no cross function with many of the people on the panel. As a recruiter, I've sat on interview panels where my input did not matter. It did not matter. I was simply just there to either note take or gather everyone's notes, transfer them to the system. But my presence or my input did not influence the manager's decision, because ultimately the manager knows best for their team, right? if you go on an interview panel and there is a recruiter there, they probably have no point in being there. Like, honestly, I'm being so honest right now. I just really want to encourage you all to not be as scared and just, like I said, just redirect and focus your energy to the people that you know you're going to be working with and the people that you know you're going to be reporting to. We all operate differently when we're nervous. For me, if it makes you guys feel any better, I sweat, specifically under my armpits. It's like I'll put a slab of deodorant on before an interview, before any day, honestly. I put on so much fucking deodorant. And then if I have to go to an interview, them pits get to sweating. Them pits get to sweating, all right? And that's why I keep my deodorant with me, all right? But do a lot of research, practice your interview. Breathing exercises are extremely helpful. Affirmations are extremely helpful before and after. So even when you finish an interview and you're like, "Ugh, I don't know how I did," continue to affirm yourself even after the interview, right? I think that that is so important. And for those who are seeking employment at this time, keep going. I know the job market is tough right now. Like, keep going, okay? And what's meant for you will arrive when timing aligns, and just keep going. Well, that is all that I have for you all today. Those are my 5 unique tips from a recruiter's mind. And I really hope that you all were able to take something from this episode and apply it to your job seeking journey, or even just to share it with someone. It's been really, really fun. Thank you all so, so much for listening. Thank you all so, so much for hanging out. If you all enjoyed this episode and want to continue being on the Thread of Thoughts train, okay, make sure you guys follow, listen, and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. All right. And also be sure to follow the podcast Instagram at Thread of Thoughts Pod. And we'll talk soon.